sit down. We're almost to school. It's time now for the school report. Today we welcome Lynn Halverson to the studio, the superintendent of the Blair-Taylor School District, brought to you by Poppy Bus Service. The school report starts right now.
That is right. It is Friday, and I got Lynn Halverson in the house. How are you this morning, Lynn?
I'm good, Brian. How are you?
Not too bad. It's Friday, so I'm feeling it today.
Yeah, we're within 2 months of the end of the school year, and time flies really fast.
Yeah, and it's getting nice out, and it looks like you guys do have baseball tonight, Blair-Taylor at Augusta, so it looks like that game will happen tonight.
Yes, in beginning of the softball season, baseball season, track season, practice is always difficult depending upon the weather, but they always manage to get their kids ready, and looking forward to a great season.
Yeah, and we are too. We will be out at that game tonight, so they can listen. That's 4:30 pregame, 5 p.m. start. You can listen to that right now. And they just did some voting on referendums. I heard like Augusta schools didn't pass, but yours did?
Yeah, Blair-Taylor, they did pass their operational referendum, and I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to our community. Yes. Obviously, when you got the support of your community, it sends a message to the entire staff that does help retention and keep our high-qualified educators within our district. Mm-hmm. As a superintendent, it's been a very busy 2 months. I've been to every city, village, town. I've talked about school finance a lot more than I would like to. And I just feel extremely fortunate to work for the Blair-Taylor School District and to serve the community and the kids. I'm in a very fortunate position, and I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to the community for their support. And in today's day and age, it won handily. Is 58% to 42%. When I look across the state, 61% of referendums passed. Okay. So that means 39% failed. Yeah. So they're facing some tough decisions right now if they did fail their operational referendum. And a lot of them were close. It's not uncommon in today's day and age. It's kind of a polarized society. And, if you're above 55, 45, it's kind of a landslide by today's standards. Yep. And so that was a good win for Blair-Taylor and our kids. And, just further, how close some of these races are. I was looking at the final results across the state, and there was one district that I believe they won or lost by one vote. One vote.
It shows the importance of voting.
Yes, another one was by 2 votes. Another one was by 6 votes. So just really emphasize that importance of getting out and voting, and you can't really assume that everyone else will get out and they'll vote the way I would have anyways. But no, you gotta get out there and exercise your right to vote.
Yeah, exactly. And the referendums for some people, it's like it's tough to understand, or they don't understand. That can be part of the problem when it comes to it. But I think part of having you guys come on every month has really helped to explain how this works for people and give them a better understanding of what's going on in your school district.
Yeah, the big thing is with school finance, it's very complicated, and there's a lot of theoretical solutions on what schools can do, but they're not reality. Yeah. You got the revenue cap. The revenue cap is enrollment time, so your per pupil funding. What a lot of people need to understand is that per pupil funding varies across the state, and it was based upon spending back in 1993. Yeah. So when school districts ask for operational support, they can ask for varying amounts, which is dictated by what their per pupil funding is. And if they have a higher per pupil funding, they can levy more and then ask for less on top of. So that's a factor. The other big factor with schools is they're set up to compete with each other. Part of the revenue cap is enrollment. You want to maintain kids in your district. You don't want them to open enroll out. When you take away opportunities, it increases the likelihood of open enrollment out, which is going to be a negative to the taxpayer. So it's a two-headed monster, and unless you are willing to listen to all of the information, it's tough to understand.
Yeah, and that's where it's important, I think, for the local people to go to those school board meetings and, for one, listen and ask the questions if they don't understand. Because I think sometimes people want to come in and just like, I know, but they don't want to admit that they might not know a few key things about it. So it is important to ask the questions and maybe even sound dumb a little bit.
You got to know the scenario before you can give the solution, for sure.
Exactly.
But the big thing is that we've always had a supportive community, and I'm so thankful for the community, for the votes, for the support to our teachers, support of me. I feel really good. I feel really good where I serve and the community that I serve. And our staff is extremely appreciative.
Mm-hmm. And you guys are getting into that last few, I'm not going to say few days, but, last few weeks of school coming. Summer's right around the corner. We might as well talk about summer school because today's your last day to register for summer school?
Yeah, today is the last day to register. You can go to the Blair-Taylor Facebook page or the webpage to get your kids signed up for summer school. That's on June 16th. Or June 15th through the 26th. Runs for 2 weeks. There's field trips on the Fridays, free breakfast, free lunch, lots and lots of fun activities. Jared McCutcheon was on last month. He talked a little bit about the fact that he can send out an email and he has summer school staffing lined up. By the end of the day, a lot of school districts have a hard time finding staff for summer school. That's not the problem at Blair-Taylor. So please get your kids signed up. It's for anyone that's entering kindergarten through 5th grade. For the 26-27 school year.
Yep.
So,
and it's a great thing for those kids to get out, get that experience in school, or just like my kids, they did well in school, but they still would sign up for summer school just because they wanted to be with their friends and have all that extra fun.
It's definitely, and half of the learning is just being social in a little bit different structure.
Yeah.
Summer school is definitely a different structure than pushing more so the academics during the school year, but it's a great opportunity to strengthen friendships, increase socialization. It's nice for parents, no cost. Get breakfast, get a full belly when you go home. So, and then there is transportation, a couple of pickups in Blair, in Taylor, and then in Beach as well. So doing what we can to help with the transportation piece.
Yep, that's great. And you said they got that free breakfast and lunch, and you're also going to do some field trips too. So that was my favorite part of school was the field trips.
Absolutely. Yep. There'd be 2 bigger field trips. I'm not sure all the details on where they're going, but I guarantee Mr. McCutcheon and his team will come up with some pretty exciting places for the field trips.
All right. And you guys are doing it again. I believe you did this last year. You have your Blair-Taylor FFA Community Cleanup Day coming up on the 22nd of April.
Yeah, Greta Munson and the FFA members are always doing something, whether it be meat and cheese sales or fruit sales or whatever the case may be. It seems like they've got something going constantly. But on April 22nd, they're going to do a community cleanup day. At this time, they don't have a lot of people signed up. Mm-hmm. But it's basically anything you can think of as far as how you need support. Just simply fill out the form, and Mrs. Munson will be in communication. It could be stacking wood, it can be painting, it can be raking leaves, it can be you name it. Mm-hmm. And it's open to anybody within the community. And their big idea is that, they just want to give back to the community. Obviously with Tuesday, our community supports us, and we as a district and the FFA team, they want to support the community as well. Mm-hmm. It's a two-way street for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And we celebrated Music in Our Schools month here at WHTL during March, and we had some of the teachers in for that and some of the students. It was a great time. And you want to talk about a few people who were involved in the music in your schools in Blair-Taylor.
Yeah, Blair-Taylor did an extremely amazing job of showcasing the talent that we have within our school. Yep. On our Facebook page, they highlighted a lot of our senior musically gifted students that will be graduating. So we showcased our students that have been a huge part of the program for multiple years. But our music department includes Julie Gappa, Hannah Diven, and Carla Holney, and we have got an amazing team of music educators at Blair-Taylor, and we're very thankful for that. But other things that they did for Music in Your Schools Month is Carla had come and did a radio interview with you guys at WHTL. This is actually on the tail end of February, but they hosted the 13th annual Cooley Land Middle School Honors Band. 11 area schools, 150 students. They put on a concert that night. Oh, wow. That was hosted by Blair-Taylor. Carla Holney, the primary organizer of that. Yeah. But that's a huge endeavor, and then she turns around, and on March 20th, she hosted the Cooley Land Mega Band, and that was 295 middle school students from 8 different school districts, and they put on a concert, I believe, at 1 p.m. on that day. Yep. So you bring in almost 300 kids, and they rehearse throughout the day, and then they put on a concert. Yeah. And it was in the elementary gym, and the place was booming, and it sounded amazing. And it's another great experience for our kids to be around other kids with the same interests. Yeah. Another social piece, build more friendships, make more connections. In today's day and age with social media, kids are connecting across districts all the time the way it is. Yeah. So it's another avenue to actually be face-to-face and talk to them versus through social media, which is a skill that kids need more, is to talk face-to-face versus through social media.
Yep. And that's one of the great things about, some of those music programs or even your sports programs. And because I know my kids, they would go out and they'd compete, and then all of a sudden, I'm friends with so-and-so, we're going to go hang out this weekend from such and such town. And it is such a great, networking opportunity for these kids.
Absolutely. And there's multiple opportunities for the Blair-Taylor students. FBLA, they go to conferences. FCCLA, they just got back from a conference in the Dells. Skills USA, they have competitions, but it's a great way to showcase your skills related to careers and build social skills at the same time.
Exactly. And we got some, let's see, what do we got next? Boys basketball.
Yeah. But then I'm going to finish up.
With the music?
One finale for the Music in Your Schools month at the very end of March was the music department worked with the library, and what they did was they promoted reading books that were about music. And so for every book that you read about music, you got your name entered into a drawing. And there was 423 books read about music, and the prize was a ukulele. So then they took all of these entries, and they drew a name out of the hat. And Andrew Mossman, a fourth grader, he won a ukulele. So he got to take that home, and so hopefully that'll motivate him to engage in that ukulele playing and transpire into other music talents.
Yep. And the ukulele is if you're going to go with a stringed instrument, it's a great instrument to start with. Gives you the basics of chords, and then you can move on to something from there. So. Yeah,
and they even pulled me in. I think it was a couple of years ago, I got pulled in for a lesson with the ukulele, and it is definitely more difficult than it looks for sure.
Yes.
And it definitely takes dedication and commitment for sure.
Yep, exactly. Lots of practice.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep, and now we can move on to boys basketball.
Yeah, I just wanted to take the time to recognize Randy Storley at one of our home basketball games. We did recognize him already, but he's been coaching for 42 years now, boys basketball at Blair-Taylor and Taylor prior to the consolidation. But during the 25-26 season, he moved into second place all time for the number of wins by a boys basketball coach. So the only coach in the state that has more wins than Randy Storley is Jerry Pettigrew from Cuba City. And he's got a record that I'm not sure will ever be broken. But I just wanted to recognize Randy for being second all-time for wins, state of Wisconsin for boys basketball. And then also this season, he coached his 1,000th game, which has only been done by one other boys basketball coach and one other girls basketball coach. So he's in an elite status as far as wins and just longevity. And just wanted to recognize him because we're very fortunate to have him, and especially for the number of years that we've had him, and he also serves as our AD. So just want to recognize Randy for his accomplishments.
Yeah,
and he's still going too.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty good feat there. Second place is pretty awesome for you, the all-time winner there. So, and we are speaking sports, so it is springtime. That means we're getting into track, softball, and baseball, huh?
Yeah, hopefully the switch flips for the weather, and we can get some consistency and some nice weather, and have all the fields dry out to a respectable level. But at the end of the year is near when you got baseball games going on, softball games going on, track meets. Went to the Independence meet last night. They had all of the small Dairyland schools for a meet there. Congrats to our girls. They were very competitive. I think they ended up 3rd out of 5. And then our boys actually won the meet. In exciting fashion. Came really tight between the second and third place teams, but our track team is doing great. Softball is always competitive at Blair-Taylor, and the same thing with baseball. So, and then another exciting thing is that our middle school track, our numbers are extremely high, lots of participation, and that's the key to a small school is making sure that kids get involved, not only in the classroom, but also outside the classroom. They learn so much from those environments as well. So, and then we're going to blink, and we've got prom is in 2 weeks. That's on April 25th. And then looking ahead, graduation is going to be on Saturday, May 23rd at 1 p.m. in the Middle High School Gymnasium. And then we'll almost close the books on the 25-26 school year, and then we're looking at the 26-27 school year. And, we've been looking at that 26-27 school year for a long time in planning, and our freshmen are scheduling next week already. And so hopefully we'll have things finalized within the next couple of weeks. and then we'll blink, it'll be August.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's like, it just seems like you guys were just coming back in, starting school, and now we're talking about school ending again. And I don't know if it's I'm getting older or senile, but these years just keep going faster.
yep. The older you get, the faster time goes.
It
and
sure does.
The older I get, the more I realize it. So.
Yep. Well, that's been a lot of great information. Anything else going on around the area that you want to talk about, or any famous last words before I let you go?
I guess, just one more time, I just want to reemphasize how thankful I am for our community. Our school district is an amazing school district, and, I can showcase big things on the radio, but in reality, it's a culmination of lots and lots and lots of little things. Yeah. And the primary little things would be our connections that our staff make with kids, making sure that our kids feel safe, they've got relationships, they're cared for. They know that they're loved at home. They know that they're cared about and loved at school. So those are all of the little things that transpire into the big things. They promote the participation and so forth. And I just wanted to commend our staff for the job that they do, because passing the referendum is not about me running around giving information. It's also about the connections that they make with kids and families. And those promote those yes votes as well. And that promotes so it's definitely more so on the staff on a daily basis, and what they showcase is the success of that referendum. So
yeah, it's great. You guys are doing a good job down there. It's always a pleasure talking with you, Lynn.
All right.
So we'll see you next month. So
sounds good. Thank you, Brian.
Yep, we've been talking with Lynn Halverson, your superintendent of Blair-Taylor. We're going to jump right back into the hits after this short break.
We know the feeling. When you close your eyes, you're there. Wide open spaces, fresh air, the home you've been dreaming of. We also know there's uncertainty. Between you and your destination, there's the unknown. But at Compeer Home, we've been helping neighbors like you finance rural homes for decades. Call 833-759-4726 or visit CompierHome.com.